Peace be upon you, and welcome to a new episode. Our story today takes place in the city of El Noberia, in Bahira Governorate, a house that looks ordinary from the outside, just like thousands of homes in Egypt, but inside, a tragedy happened that will make you pause and think. A little girl named Salma Badr Ahmed, only 4 years old, was playing and laughing like any child her age. In a moment, her life was brutally cut short. In the daytime during Ramadan, the month that's supposed to be full of mercy and goodness. Who was behind this crime? How could a heart turn so cruel as to harm an innocent child? And even more shocking, how could the one who did this be someone from inside the very same house? Salma's story isn't just a crime. It's a story that will make you ask, how far can human beings really go? Get ready, we're going to tell you everything from beginning to end. But be warned, this story will make you see the world differently and make you think about every child around you, about every moment that passes without us noticing. And before we start our story, don't forget to like and share the episode so it can reach as many people as possible. Without diving into too many details just yet, let's dive deep into our story. This story exploded in March 2025, but to really understand it, we need to go way back, understand who Salma was, who her family were, and what led the story to such a tragic end. Salma Ahmed Badr was born in 2021 into a modest family in the city of El Nobaria, in a residential area called Ebni Beitak, a place where people try to build a decent life with limited means. Her father, Ahmed Badr, was a kind and hard-working man. He had a simple job, working at a small company. What mattered most was that he woke up every day trying to give his daughter a better life. To Ahmed, Salma was everything. His only daughter, his little princess. He loved watching her play, seeing her smile that lit up the whole house. Salma was as beautiful as the moon, with soft hair, innocent eyes, and a charming personality. She loved drawing on any paper she found, playing with dolls, and running around the house singing children's songs like Baba Gabli Balloona, Daddy brought me a balloon. The neighbors adored her. They would always say, Salma is like an angel, she never upsets anyone. Salma was a smart girl, even at a young age. In kindergarten, her teachers used to say she learned quickly, loved listening to stories, and was always asking questions like, why does the moon only come out at night? Or, how do birds know their way? She was a curious child who loved exploring the world around her. Ahmed was extremely proud of her. He used to tell people how Salma had started writing the first letters of her name by herself. He dreamed that she'd grow up to be a doctor or an engineer, just like any father dreaming of a bright future for his daughter. Every day when he came back from work, he'd find Salma waiting for him at the door. She'd run to hug him and ask, Daddy, did you bring me something sweet? He'd bring her a small chocolate or a simple toy, and her joy would make him forget the exhaustion of the day. Salma's mother was a regular housewife, like any Egyptian woman who loved her home and her family. At first, she and Ahmed lived a quiet life. But after Salma was born, problems started to appear. Maybe there was financial pressure, because raising a child in Egypt isn't cheap. Or maybe it was differences in personalities. No one knows the full details, but what's clear is that things reached a point where they couldn't stay together anymore. In 2023, they decided to separate. Salma's mother left her with her father and went to live far away, in another governorate. Maybe she had difficult circumstances. Maybe she felt she wasn't capable of raising her daughter. What's certain is that the decision was tough, not just on her, but on Salma too. Imagine a 2-year-old child suddenly finding that her mother is no longer there. That's something that leaves a deep scar, even if the child can't explain it in words. Before Salma's mother left her, they were very close. She used to love dressing her in little dresses, braiding her hair and singing her songs. But after the separation, the contact between her and Salma decreased. Maybe she would call every now and then to ask about her, but the distance and circumstances made their relationship weak. Ahmed tried to make up for that absence. He took Salma with him everywhere, brought her to visit his family, and spoke positively about her mother so she wouldn't feel alone. But Salma, like any child, needed her mother. She would always ask, "Daddy, when is Mama coming back?" Ahmed would respond with comforting words, telling her, "Soon, my love. But for now, I'm here with you." He loved seeing her happy, and he would always say to people, "Salma looks just like her mother, same smile, same intelligence." Those words, even though he said them casually, would leave a big impact, as we'll later find out. In 2024, Ahmed felt it was time to move on with his life. He wanted to remarry, to find a partner who could help him raise Salma and walk with him on life's path. He chose a woman named Amal. Amal seemed calm and kind on the outside. People in El Nobaria used to describe her as a poor soul and harmless. She lived a simple life before marrying Ahmed. Maybe she dreamed of building a family and living a stable life. At first, Amal tried to become part of Ahmed and Salma's life. She treated Salma well in front of others, buying her sweets, trying to play with her, telling the neighbors, "Salma is like my daughter." But inside, she started feeling something entirely different. Every time Ahmed said, "Salma looks like her mother," or accidentally called Amal by Salma's mother's name, jealousy would eat away at her heart. Imagine a woman feeling jealous of a 4-year-old child, not of another woman in her husband's life, but of an innocent little girl whose only fault was that she resembled her mother. This jealousy wasn't just mild resentment. Amal began to see Salma as a threat, a symbol of Ahmed's past, a past that included Salma's mother. Every laugh from Salma, every sweet word Ahmed said about his daughter was like fire burning inside Amal. She started to feel like Salma was stealing Ahmed's love from her, even if that wasn't true. The strange part is that Amal pretended otherwise in front of people. She acted like she loved Salma, dressing her, cooking for her. But in truth, her heart was full of hatred. Before Amal married Ahmed, she lived a quiet life, but maybe she had big ambitions. Maybe she dreamed of becoming the wife of a successful man, or of building a home filled with love. When she married Ahmed, she saw in him an opportunity to achieve that dream. But Salma's presence felt like an obstacle in her path, not because Salma was a difficult child, no, but because Salma constantly reminded her of Salma's mother, the woman Ahmed once loved. Every time Amal heard Ahmed say, "Salma looks like her mother," she felt like she wasn't number one in his life. That feeling began to grow inside her, evolving from normal jealousy into deep hatred. She started to see Salma not as an innocent child, but as an enemy. In the months leading up to March 2025, Amal began acting strangely towards Salma. She treated her more coldly, yelled at her if she played too much, and got annoyed if Salma asked for something, like food or a toy. She felt that Salma was a burden, even if she didn't say it outright. Ahmed noticed it, but didn't take it seriously. He told himself, "It's normal. Amal is still getting used to Salma." Maybe he was also preoccupied with work, since finances weren't easy. He was trying to provide for the household, to buy things for Salma, and that distracted him from the subtle changes in Amal's behavior. The truth was, Amal was building a wall of hatred inside her. Every time she saw Salma, she remembered Ahmed's words. "She looks like her mother." Every time she heard Salma's laughter, she felt like she was losing her place in the house. The neighbors saw Amal in the street and thought she was calm and kind. She'd greet them, smile, and chat about life and rising prices. But no one knew she was burning with jealousy inside. One neighbor, a woman named Mohammed, later recalled how Amal always seemed normal, but sometimes looked at Salma with a strange expression, like she was annoyed by her. Mohammed said, "I used to think she loved Salma, but there was something in her eyes that didn't sit right with me." Of course, no one could have imagined that look would turn into a crime. On March 10th, 2025, during the day in Ramadan, the crime that shook the city of El Nobaria took place. Ahmed was at work, just like any other day. Salma was at home, playing in front of the staircase. It was an ordinary staircase, around 10 or 15 marble steps, like many you'd see in Egyptian homes. Salma was happy. Maybe she was singing a song or talking to her doll. She loved playing near the stairs because it was a spacious area, and she always laughed as she ran around. Amal was coming down from the rooftop. Maybe she was fetching something or checking on the laundry. She saw Salma standing on the stairs, playing innocently. And in a moment, without any thought, Amal pushed Salma. The little girl fell down the steps. Her face was injured and started bleeding from the impact. Salma cried, screamed in pain, but Amal wasn't concerned for the child. She was afraid for herself. She feared that Ahmed would come home and see the blood, or that the neighbors would hear the noise and accuse her. Instead of calling an ambulance or trying to help Salma, Amal decided to get rid of the problem in a horrific way. Salma was still alive, but injured and unable to move properly. Amal, with complete cruelty, grabbed Salma and strangled her with her bare hands. She pressed on the little girl's neck until she felt that the child had stopped moving. Imagine a 4-year-old girl, an innocent angel, dying at the hands of someone who was supposed to be like a mother to her. After Amal made sure that Salma was dead, she started thinking about how to hide the crime. She found an old sack in the house, placed Salma's body inside it, and went up to the rooftop. There, she saw the water tank of the house. She opened the tank, threw the sack inside, and covered the tank with wooden planks so that no one would suspect anything. She calculated every step, as if she wanted to erase all traces of what she had done. When Ahmed Badr returned from work that same day, March 10th, 2025, he asked about Salma as usual. Amal, with complete coldness, told him, "I don't know. She was playing in front of the door and suddenly disappeared." Ahmed felt like his heart was going to stop. He rushed into the street to search for her, calling her name everywhere, asking the neighbors, but there was no sign of her. He was running like a madman, checking every corner, asking everyone he met, "Did you see Salma?" The neighbors began to worry and joined in the search, but no one had seen her. Ahmed called Salma's mother, who was far away, and told her that their daughter was missing. Salma's mother broke down on the phone, crying and saying, "How? Where is my daughter?" She felt guilty for leaving Salma and believed that if she had been there, this might not have happened. Out of extreme worry, Ahmed reported the disappearance to the police the same day. The security services, led by the director of security of Bihira Governorate, launched an immediate investigation. The police came to the house that night and began questioning Ahmed and Amal about everything. Ahmed was in shock, describing how he left Salma in the morning playing and how she was gone when he returned. Amal recounted things coldly, saying she was in the kitchen and then went to the rooftop, and that Salma had been playing alone. The officers noticed her answers were too neatly prepared, as if she had rehearsed them, but they didn't yet have strong evidence, so they started searching. On March 11th, 2025, the police returned to the house and began a more extensive search. The first thing they did was review the street surveillance cameras. The footage was clear. Ahmed left for work in the morning and returned at night, and no one else entered or exited the house. That meant Salma was still inside the house. The officers, with help from the investigation team and the head of the criminal investigation unit, searched the house thoroughly. They checked under the beds, inside the closets, and in every corner, looking for any clue, any sign that might tell them where Salma was. The neighbors were outside trying to help, but no one had seen Salma leave the house. The police questioned Amal again, but she insisted that she didn't know anything. She said she heard a noise like a thump inside the house, but thought Salma had just fallen while playing. The officers started to feel that something was wrong with her story. Why didn't she call Ahmed when she heard the noise? Why didn't she try to look for Salma? They began searching the house more carefully, until one of the officers, while inspecting the rooftop, noticed the water tank. He asked, "What's that wood doing on top of the tank?" Amal tried to dodge the question and said it was there to keep away rats or insects. But the officers were not convinced. They removed the wood, opened the tank, and found the sack. When they opened it, the shock was immense. The body of Salma, the little girl who had been laughing just hours earlier, was thrown inside, strangled, and injured. The news spread through the city of Nubariya like wildfire. Neighbors gathered around the house and people were in shock. Ahmed was devastated, screaming and crying, "Salma, my daughter!" He tried to enter to see her, but the police prevented him to preserve the crime scene. The neighbors, who used to see Salma playing every day, couldn't believe it. They kept saying, "How could this happen?" Salma was like our own daughter. Many women cried and men tried to calm each other down, but everyone was stunned. The police transferred the body to the forensic medicine department under the supervision of the public prosecution. The medical report, released on the same day, March 11, 2025, confirmed that Salma died from strangulation and there were injuries on her face from falling on the stairs. The report also confirmed that these injuries happened before the strangulation, meaning Salma was still alive when Amal decided to strangle her. The police launched an intensive investigation and questioned Amal again. At first, she tried to deny everything, saying she didn't know anything and that Salma might have fallen on her own. But the street cameras were strong evidence showing that Salma never left the house. The officers, with the help of an investigation team, pressured her. They asked about every minute of that day, what exactly happened. They were trying to find contradictions in her story, and they did. Amal said she didn't hear Salma crying, but the neighbors said they heard a noise like a child scream before anything happened. On March 12, 2025, after a long interrogation, Amal couldn't handle the pressure and confessed. She said she was jealous of Salma because she resembled her mother, and that Ahmed always said, "Salma is beautiful like her mother." She admitted that she pushed Salma off the stairs unintentionally, and when she saw the blood, she was afraid people would accuse her. So, she decided to strangle her and hide the body in the water tank. This confession, everyone, was like a thunderbolt. People couldn't believe someone could do that. A 4-year-old girl during Ramadan daytime while preparing iftar was killed out of jealousy? The officers recorded her confession and transferred it to the prosecution immediately. The director of the Wadi El Natrun prosecution ordered Amal to be held for 4 days pending investigations on March 14, 2025. Then, on March 15, 2025, the misdemeanor court of Kamhamada City extended her detention for another 15 days to complete investigations. The prosecution assigned an investigation team to collect all the evidence. The police searched the house again and found small traces of blood on the stairs, confirming Amal's story about the fall. They also examined the sack and the tank, and all the evidence pointed to her. The prosecution summoned witnesses from the neighbors, but no one saw anything unusual that day. The neighbors said Amal always seemed calm, and no one imagined she could do something like this. In the days following the crime, the case became the talk of the whole country. Websites like Yum7, Al-Masri Al-Yum, and Dotmaster published details about the crime, and social media was filled with comments. Many people wrote about Salma, her innocence, and her smile that used to brighten the street. Many demanded a fair trial, and that Amal receive the maximum penalty. In the city of Nubaria, neighbors still remember Salma. They talk about her running in the street, playing with the children, laughing from the heart. Many felt guilty, saying, "If we had been more careful, maybe we could have saved her." Others started to ask, how could Amal seem so kind and do something like this? People in the city of Nubaria began to talk about Salma in a different way. They remembered every moment they saw her. One of the neighbors, a woman named Muhammad, told how Salma would pass under her balcony every day and say to her, "Grandma, I want sweets." Another neighbor, Abu Khaled, talked about how Salma loved to play with his children and was always helping them tidy up their toys. These stories, everyone, made people feel that Salma was not just a child, she was like a light in the whole neighborhood. Even the children in the kindergarten, when they learned that Salma would not come back, were asking, "Why isn't Salma coming?" The teachers didn't know how to answer. They tried to calm the children, but they themselves were upset. Ahmed Badr, the man who lost his daughter, was in a very difficult state. Every day he would go to Salma's grave, sit crying, and talk to her as if she were still alive. He would say, "Salma was my whole life. How can I live without her?" He remembered every moment with her, every laugh, every time she ran to hug him and say, "Daddy." He felt guilty and told himself, if I hadn't married Amal, Salma would still be alive. He felt that he was the one at fault, even though he didn't know Amal would do such a thing. The neighbors tried to comfort him and said, "May God give you patience, Ahmed. This is God's will." But no words can ease such pain. Ahmed felt as if the world had stopped for him, as if his life had ended with Salma. Salma's mother, when she found out what happened, returned from traveling. She was in a state of collapse, crying and saying, "If I had been there, my daughter wouldn't have died." She felt guilty for leaving Salma with her father. She remembered every moment she spent with her daughter before the separation, every time she hugged her, sang to her, dressed her. She told people, "Salma was my whole world, but I was the one who left her." She tried to talk to Ahmed, but he was too upset and pushed everyone away. The whole family was devastated, and each of them was searching for an answer to the question, why Salma? In the weeks following the crime, the case remained headline news. On March 20th, 2025, the prosecution issued an official statement confirming that Amal would be tried on charges of premeditated murder. People followed the case closely and asked about any developments. In Nubaria, people began talking about how to protect their children from such things. Many women in the area started warning each other, saying, "Take care of your children, even if it's inside the house." The story made people reflect on many things, like how jealousy can destroy lives and how there needs to be more awareness about the people around us. On March 25th, 2025, the initial trial sessions began. Amal was in the defendant's dock, looking down and not speaking. Her lawyer tried to say that she didn't intend to kill and that she pushed Salma without meaning to hurt her, but the prosecution had strong evidence: the medical report, blood traces, and Amal's own confession. The judge listened carefully and asked Amal many questions about her motives. She responded with confused words, saying she was scared and didn't know what she had done. The people in the courtroom, from Nubaria families and journalists, looked at her with anger. One of the neighbors who was present at the session later said, "I wanted to ask her, how could your heart allow you to do this to Salma?" And until now, the sessions continue until justice is served. This case, everyone, is not just about a murder. It's a story about how hatred and jealousy can blind the heart and make a person do something like this. Salma was an angel, a girl who didn't know what evil meant. She dreamed like any child, to grow up, go to school, become a doctor or a teacher. But unfortunately, she fell into merciless hands. This story should make us think. We must care for children and protect them from anything that might harm them, even if it comes from the closest people. We must keep our eyes open and our hearts full of mercy. We must learn from Salma so that her tragedy does not repeat. May God have mercy on you, Salma, and grant patience to your father and mother, and protect all children from the evil of people. And with that, today's episode is finished. If this is your first time watching the channel, don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell so you get all the new updates. See you in a new episode. Goodbye.